Hi, good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of Fact Sheets live on ETV, live on NISIM 95.9 and 100.1, also live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You're welcome to the conversation. Tonight, we're coming to you live from the Ghana Library Authority. We're talking books, we're talking interests in reading, we're talking Ghana becoming the world book capital after Mexico handed over the baton to us as a nation. What really does it mean to become the world book capital? There have been several attempts to ensure that we encourage reading amongst the youth today. What's been the success story, especially after 2022? We declared that we would be having a year of books and reading. We are fortunate to be in the office of the CEO for the Ghana Library Authority. Mr. Hayford Siaw is hosting us tonight on Fact Sheet. We'll take a short breather. When we come back, the conversation kickstarts. Do stay with us. And welcome back to the show. This is Fact Sheet live on ETV, live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I encourage you, as always, to go to Facebook and share the link to groups and platforms that you might be on, so loved ones can also join us. Share your thoughts with us so that we can read them live on the show. But like I said earlier, we are in the CEO for the Library Authority's office tonight, and we're talking about inculcating reading and our library facilities in the country. Once again, you're welcome to the show. My name is Samuel Chen, and my host tonight is Mr. Hayford Siaw. Sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
And thanks for hosting us tonight.
It's a pleasure.
I'm hoping that everything is going well for your
By
entity.
the grace of God. By the grace of God.
So a remarkable event happened yesterday when the baton was handed over to us as a nation to become the world book capital. What does it mean to become a world book capital?
Thank you very much, and I'm excited to be on your show. It's been an interest for me to get an opportunity to meet with you, and so thank you very much for this opportunity. The Ghana Library Authority, which is mandated by law to be responsible for establishment, management, equipping of public libraries, have been doing this for the past over 70 decades now.
Okay.
Over 70 years now. If you look historically about the work of Ghana Library Authority to promote reading, connect citizens to knowledge, you will realize that over the last 6 years, there's been a remarkable growth in terms of library networks, in terms of the books on the shelf of public library, in terms of number of people that are patronizing the library resources on the shelves of public libraries in Ghana. And a lot of interventions and programs that we have initiated across the country over the last 6 years have given Ghana a new image as being the hub for intellectual stimulation, intellectual development, a nation that is ready to promote lifelong learning. And so a combination of the work that has been done by various, of course, agencies in Ghana, but most importantly, the role that the Ghana Library Authority has been able to play since 2018 has cemented Ghana's position as being ready to really make Ghana a reading and learning nation. And so in 2021, UNESCO, and its partners, actually recommended Ghana Library Authority to be declared as one of the innovative public agencies in the world at the UN Public Service Awards. In that same year, Ghana was also, Ghana Library Authority was named, by the London International Book Fair Excellence Award as, the Library of the Year. All of these, cements Ghana's position as being ready to really accelerate the culture of lifelong learning in the country. And so when Ghana put in the bid, led by Ghana Book Development Council and others, and Accra Metropolitan Assembly and other agencies like ours, we knew that, for example, we've been able to resurrect the mobile library service, because at the time when I took over, for example, this administration took over, the mobile library service had collapsed. We've managed to bring it back. Books on the shelf for public libraries had declined from 1,049,000 in 1981 to now less than 400,000 books on the shelf of public libraries. Now, over this period, we've managed to add about 1 million books on the shelves of public libraries just within a period of 6 years. And so all of these that Ghana has been able to do, expanding the network of public library network, that is the access point where Ghanaians get to interact with us physically. We've moved it from 61 to now today 117. We used not to have any means for Ghanaians to be able to connect to our resources electronically. Today, Ghana can boast of a digital library platform that allows citizens to have access to e-books from the Ghana Library Authority.
Okay.
And this also is zero-rated by telcos. So you could see that the government of Ghana has demonstrated that it is committed to making sure that Ghanaians get the opportunity to learn and also have the cheapest and easiest way to be able to also get connected to some of the resources at our disposal. And so a combination of these are why the world now recognizes that the city of Accra, which used to have less than 9 libraries, now can boast of about 16 library network, is being recognized as the World Book capital. And so Accra, representing Ghana, is now the World Book capital, and it is because of the immense contribution of this government, to the book industry and public library services and the promotion of reading. And this was demonstrated yesterday by His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who actually read the book, to the kids. His Excellency, over this period, 6 years period, have commissioned, he himself personally, out of the many libraries, has commissioned 2 libraries himself, one in Winneba and recently at Frafraha. The Vice President himself has commissioned 2 libraries, personally been there, the airport, the National Children's Library at Kawukudi, and recently the Akimoda library that was commissioned. Her Excellency, the First Lady, has been at the forefront of building up to 20 libraries for her. It has built now 13 already and has commissioned most of them, for us. So you could see, and Her Excellency, the Second Lady, has also built and commissioned library and distributed over 200,000 books to children across the country. So you could see that the top leadership of this country has shown immense commitment and support for the promotion of reading, the promotion of the book industry, support for the development of libraries. And when a country begins to demonstrate that it really wants to advance the cause of lifelong learning, it really wants to provide opportunity for the citizens to acquire knowledge and be connected to the relevant knowledge, the world sees it and they begin to recognize it as such. And so you should not be surprised that Ghana, has been chosen, or Accra has been chosen as a World Book capital, for which reason we saw the ceremony yesterday.
What necessarily does that entail, being a capital for the world when it comes to books? What does that necessarily entail?
So this means that a country has sent in a bid and showed to the world that this is what we are doing, and that if you recognize us as such, we will be doing more in that area. And so, for example, in Ghana's bid, we have promised that we are going to be promoting reading. We are going to develop infrastructure to be able to promote reading. We are going to support the creative industry so that more content that can help promote lifelong learning can be developed. We have promised that we are going to be able to fill the shelves of public libraries. We have also promised that we are going to bring back, or we are going to expand the services of mobile library services and all of that. And so it's really what you have submitted that you want to be able to do. That's after the evaluation, then the committee will decide that this country based on the track record of what they have done, based on the track record that you are increasing the network of libraries, you are filling the shelf for public library, you are creating a technology infrastructure to get citizens to connect, you are setting up your mobile library services in place to get more people in rural areas to be able to have opportunity to access reading content. I mean, all of this, based on that track record and based on what you are projecting to do, is what they look at to be able to recognize you as such.
So, the common strand is a book.
Yes.
But what kind of book are we talking about? Seeing that, for instance, if I told you that I was going to Dubai, I know that when I enter into that country, their culture is what I'm going to look at. What they have, their tourist site is what I'm going to look at. I'm looking at the kind of books we would be showcasing as a country if we are the capital. I'm thinking about local content. In all this, what role does local content play in the conversation about a book capital?
Well, this provides a big platform and opportunity for players within the book industry. And so if you are an author, if you're a writer, if you're a publishing house, the world's eye is on Ghana. And it is an opportunity for you to be able to showcase your resources so that other stakeholders can be able to patronize your resources. And so, yes, the whole world is looking at Ghana. They are looking at the industry and what we have. For example, Ghana Library Authority has just entered into an arrangement with Overdrive. Overdrive is the world leading distributor of digital content.
Okay.
They want to be able to make Ghanaian content available on their platform so that libraries and schools across the world can be able to buy it electronically. So you will notice that over the next few years, the trickle-down effect of Accra being being named as the World Book Capital will also, of course, reflect in the pocket of the publishers. And so it is up to them to take advantage of it. The Ghanaian government have gone into bid and has won it. It is up to us citizens and businesses to be able to make optimum use of this opportunity, because everybody descended on Accra yesterday and people are still around. They are going through the bookshops. They are looking for well-written books by Ghanaians. I mean, if you go to George Padmore Library today, we are getting a lot of requests. People are searching our databases, looking at publishing houses. People are searching within our open public access catalog. People are visiting our various libraries, trying to see what we have as a country. Yes, the Ghanaian government has committed that it is going to increase the number of books available to the Ghanaian public, but it must be published by the Ghanaian citizen or the Ghanaian business, so that the government can be able to procure and put it on the shelf, so that citizens can have access to some of these books. Or even citizens themselves want to be able to go to the bookshops and buy them. And so the opportunity for the industry to be able to market itself, promote itself, so that Ghanaians get to know what books are being written. If I want the latest book that has been written in Ghana, where do I go to get?
Indeed.
You see? So we need to really take this as an opportunity to really structure the way we even bring our books out and how people can follow the trends to be able to know which books are new on the market.
All right.
George Padmore.
We would want to take a short breather, and then when we come back, we will continue the conversation. Stay with us. All right, so in all this, how expensive or inexpensive is the acquisition of books for the libraries you speak about? Because you were giving me some data. You said it had dwindled to some 400,000, and now you've been able to add a million or so.
Yeah.
How expensive is that?
Books are extremely expensive, especially if you're operating a public library. Actually, there's no library in the world that has got enough books, and I always make that statement to demonstrate that we need to be able to buy more books to fill the shelves of public libraries in Ghana. Unfortunately, for a very long time, we haven't really put in the financial resources together to be able to consistently purchase. I mean, in other jurisdictions, as soon as a book is released, there's an acquisition officer at the library who will immediately acquire those books and put them on the shelves of public libraries, because you don't want only the privileged ones that can buy the books to be able to go and get them, but you also want to create equity within your society. And so the library becomes that environment that anybody who is interested in the book but is not able to purchase it can get access to some copies. And so if you go to countries like, for example, last year when I was in Stockholm, a book had been released, and because the library has purchased a few copies, people were in queue to be able to borrow the books.
Wow.
And so you could and that demonstrates how popular a book is. And so you have maybe 4 copies on the shelf. As soon as the 4 copies are loaned out, what it means is that all of you, maybe 200 people in line, have to wait, so that as soon as one person returns on the shelf, that we give it to the other. It demonstrates to you how popular a book is. And those that are privileged, they just go to the bookshop to be able to buy them. I think that we have to use Accra World Book Capital as an opportunity to probably establish what I have been advocating for, which is a book fund. So the book fund, when established, will be able to, a pool of funds can be directed into that, purposely to buy locally produced books that will fill the shelves of book schools and public libraries in the country. We haven't managed to be able to get that through yet. Be as it may, government of Ghana every year consistently has been making effort to be able to make sure that the shelves of our public libraries get some materials on them. And it is therefore no surprise that since the assumption of this government, over 1 million books have found itself on our shelves, and we still have to do more, because if you look at having 1.4 million books on the shelves, do the population to book ratio, is still not very encouraging.
Insignificant.
And so we still have a lot of work to do. Yes, we take pride, and we are happy that our work is being recognized, and the fact that the world's eye is now on Ghana. We still have an opportunity, and that is what some of these platforms offer Ghana as a country. But books generally, yes, very expensive. I mean, if I tell you $1 million has been spent on this collection of maybe 30,000 books, you'll be shocked. And so we need to consistently also buy it, because if you don't buy, you get wear and tear on your existing stock. You clear it. I mentioned to you that in 1981 we had 1,049,000 books. Fast forward to 2017, the books on the shelf had dropped to less than 400,000. Why? Because the rates at which weeding was taking place, wear and tear were happening to materials over about 4 decades, almost 4 decades. We were not replacing it at the same pace. So what it means is that though you buy some sort of books on the shelf, you are not able to replace it at the level that you are depleting stock, and you have that, huge challenge, on your hands. And so some few years ago, it was the norm for people to say libraries have collapsed. They are old books, their books are not current, nothing is happening there, and all of that. Today, the narrative is different. Today, I mean, in 2016, about 340,000 or so people visited libraries in Ghana. Today, we are hitting almost 1.5 million visits to libraries across the country. Every single day that we get an opportunity to speak on platforms like this, people are downloading our app, people are visiting the nearest public library to register their kids so that they can make optimum or benefit from the services that we are providing. And so, yes, books are not that cheap, but government is still making an effort to be able to make sure that we have them.
Let me take you back to the issue of local content. I want to have an understanding of the ratio of local content to foreign materials on our shelves, as you speak about the 1.4 million.
Yes.
What's the ratio like?
Well, so across the country, local books forms a little below 30% of our stock, whilst you have about 70% of them being, international books. I wouldn't say foreign, it's international in nature.
Okay.
Because the fact that a material is not written by a Ghanaian author, it does not mean that it is not relevant to us. And so, yes, about 70% or so are foreign, or international resources. They still are relevant because, trust me, I mean, when you go to the universities, how many books are written by Ghanaians that are used at the universities? And these, everybody in the tertiary institution also want to benefit from the public life. So you need to be able to make these textbooks available to them, and these are really internationally authored, resources. So usually you can have the youth, fiction materials, novels, being written by Ghanaians. I mean, for more of a pleasure reading, you can have some religious materials, authored, by Ghanaians, and so you have all of these, diverse stock of resources that Ghanaians really are good at producing. But when it comes to even early grade reading content, I mean, hard paperback books, you could say that the international one, those produced by all the big international publishing firms, are the one that are actually ideal for our kids. Hardly will you see Ghanaian authored early grade reading resources that are robust in nature and are able to withstand the plain habit of a 2, 3 year, 4 year, 5-year-old kid. And so usually you'll find that even all of those books are all authored from outside.
Generally, you were giving me some statistics as to the increase in the desire to read.
Yes.
But if you look at the total population, especially those that are privileged enough to have to read, is there an interest in reading, seeing that we are in a digital age?
Well, okay. Being in the digital age does not mean or does not warrant or does not obstruct you from building a reading culture. It is actually an opportunity for you to leverage on to be able to build a reading culture. Today, Ghana Library Authority have 117 libraries in about 80 districts. We have 260 districts, which means that we are not even situated in more than half of this country. And so you've already alienated, you've already
Cut off.
you've already cut off some people from getting access to public library. However, leveraging on technology today, I can tell you that we are in almost every district in Ghana because you have people that have downloaded our app that are able to access some sort of reading content. On our mobile app, for example, we have video tutorials that were developed by Ghana Education Service and Center for Distance and Open Schooling, which have been put on the app. Okay. Parents download the app, and the children are watching the videos as extra classes, extra tuition for their kids at home.
Okay.
And this is happening across the country. So if somebody is saying technology for some reason technology is not allowing children to read or learn, but look at how somebody is using this same technology to be able to promote learning in his or her house.
But is there penetration enough when it comes to the digital conversation? Because I'm looking at, for instance, a very big project like the SIM card registration exercise, or even the national, ID card, which is supposed to be a real-time registration process. But because of penetration, we we're not able to do real-time. We had to do offline reintegration before finally we could, balance our things. I'm looking at how this works out for those in the districts, those in the assemblies, which may not necessarily have, the connectivity to access this brilliant idea that you're sharing with me.
Yes, we understand that internet penetration in Ghana is still growing, but we will not wait for it to get to 100% before we deploy some of the ideas when it comes to the use of technology infrastructure to deliver learning content to citizens. And so, yes, we know government effort at connectivity, in schools, in the MDAs, and in our various community centers and libraries and all of that. That work is ongoing, but we have created already the platform. And so those that have the opportunity for 4G, 3G network, are downloading and are using and are benefiting from our resources. But we also understand that there are a lot more Ghanaians that, will require a static library service. I mean, we need to have the static library. Even in the most advanced countries, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, in Finland, where internet penetration is 97%, with around 6 million people, they have over 700 public libraries. Within every 3-kilometer radius, there's a static public library. And so you really have no argument when it comes to internet, whether or not internet replaces the work of static library or static library is replacing the work of internet. They have to go hand in hand, and each one of us, I mean, as citizens, will decide whether I want to use the static library to access a particular book, or I want to download the book from an app and be able to read it at home. And you will admit that when we are pursuing different courses, lecturers will send us slides, in digital format. We end up printing them. And so still you will notice that the use of the static library is really, and that is why I mentioned, that, Dubai has just launched the Library of the Future. Fantastic edifice. They actually invited us to get them some books. Fantastic edifice. And this is a country that has 99% internet penetration. And they're still building libraries. Washington, D.C. just recently commissioned the Martin Luther King Public Library. I mean, Washington, everywhere there is Wi-Fi, but still they are building public libraries. So the argument is that how do we make sure that every district in Ghana has a public library? You create that public library set up, in the district, where you have a central district library, support it with other smaller libraries, and then also have an add-on of a mobile library service. You can get a universal coverage when it comes to library services in a particular district, and that is how the Ghana Library Authority strategic plan actually envisaged for us to be able to do, so that we can decentralize the service in such a way that every citizen get the opportunity of public library services. So over the years, we recognize that government is limited when it comes to resource. So yes, we cannot build libraries in every district within a short period of time, but we can also leverage on our mobile library service. And so that's why when we came in, and the mobile library service had collapsed, the governing board led by Dr. Helena Samoa and the team, advised management, let's get these mobile libraries vans back on the road. We got them back on the road, and today they are benefiting thousands of Ghanaians in hard to reach communities, and so those people probably don't have access to internet. They don't know what your mobile library app has on. They have no idea what you are talking about when you come to an application that you say that you are bragging that you've stocked some books on it. But because of the physical presence of a mobile van, coming with even computers, so whilst we are giving out the books to the kids to read, we hand over our laptops, which was given to us by the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication, hand over to the ICT teacher, and they're able to teach them experiential learning using the computers and all of that. And so really, that is how we are addressing, those that are cut off, when it comes to both static library and internet connectivity. Let's leverage on the mobile library service to be able to. Of course, we don't have enough. We only have 11 now across the country. We hope that we can be able to add more. The real hope for us, or the real vision for us, is that we are able to build a district library. Every district in Ghana, one district, one library. Maybe that will be the new campaign slogan for 2024. Once we are able to build a one district, one library, one district, one mobile library van. So a district will have a district library to have a mobile van attached to it, so that a van can be able to go into the small villages and be able to get some of these oil marketing companies to give us coupons, 2,000 Ghana cedis coupons every month. And the children in the whole district will be tremendously happy with it. And so if you're a corporate institution and you're watching me, this is an opportunity for you to be able to, work with the Ghana Library Authority to achieve that.
Now, as you spoke about the mobile vans and then the static libraries, a thought was running through my mind. I actually traveled way back into time. You know, back in the day when we used to go to the library to go and get the Tintins and co.
Adventures of Tintin.
Yes. You know, there were librarians there. I'm picturing a district which has a mobile van. Let's say your dream has come to pass, and one district, one mobile van, and one static library is there. How well endowed are we in terms of librarians who understand the work to man these posts, if I may put it that way?
The University of Ghana is producing librarians every year. And they're producing information science professionals every year. They are scattered all over. It's just that the opportunity has not been created. We don't have enough libraries to even employ them. I mean, if we have enough libraries, the people to work in, they've already been trained by the universities. Kumasi Technical University is already training people in library studies. University of Ghana has been producing thousands of graduates from in information science, and so they are there.
Okay.
They are there. They are already there. I mean, if you open an application right now that you are looking for librarian, you'll be shocked the number of applications you'll be receiving. And so, yes, of course, there is always continuous development, continuous professional development for staff. And so, yes, you may come in. I mean, what you learn in school is quite different when it comes to practice, but you will be able to catch on through CPD. We have a solid in-house training program that we organize for people that are employed to work with us, and of course, they also follow professionals that have been in practice for long. They learn from, because for example, when you are processing books, doing classification and all of that, it's a whole complex processes. Of course, with the help of technology now, things have become a bit easy. And so we train, people. I mean, when I came into Ghana Library Authority, we're not using any digital processes, but now we've automated our book processing. The capacity of existing staff needed to be built. It was done, and now, we are managing our whole technology infrastructure. We are doing everything ourselves because capacity of our staff have been built to be able to handle that.
Now, let's talk about collaboration. Again, traveling back into time, because as you're speaking, I'm just, going back into time. At the time, I remember we had some of the religious institutions which had their own libraries that we patronized growing up. I don't know the level of collaboration that exists, because I would think that in terms of financial endowments, you might not be that endowed. And so collaboration would help. In that respect, how are these institutions that we used to know to own libraries, how are they also faring as well?
Well, so because libraries generally don't raise money, people build libraries out of passion.
Okay.
And when the economic reality set in for them to pay people, they are not able to. I mean, if you want to hire fresh graduates from university, you have to make a budget of about 2,000 Ghana cedis a month, for that person. And so if you establish a library, it is not raising money. And every year you need to even try to fill the shelves with some, collection. And you are spending like 2,000 every month. It becomes a burden, even for the well-endowed people. And so what we have seen over the years is that people have built libraries, and they said, they are going to manage it themselves. They're going to recruit people to work there. They end up recruiting a fresh senior high school student who is on a gap break from going to university. They put this person, they pay them 300 Ghana cedis or 400 Ghana cedis. The person gets admission to the university. The library is closed. Some people say, okay, when we build a library, we can get the national service personnel to come. They go to the district assembly. They post a person there for this year. Next year, they don't get anybody to post and manage the library. The library is closed. Computers are stolen. Books get missing. And so over a period of time, you will realize that these libraries get closed down. And so it's the same all over the country. What we have been advocating for over the last few years is that if you want to do any library project, get in touch with the Ghana Library Authority so that we can plan and budget for it. It is our mandate to build libraries for all Ghanaians.
Okay.
However, we don't have the resources to be able to build. And so since we do not have the resources to build, at least the government of Ghana can have the resources to manage it for you. And so if you're able to come to us with a proposal, hand over to us, we sign an MOU with us, we bring the district assemblies forward, they become a tripartite agreement, we are able to, submit our request to the Ministry of Finance through the Ministry of Education. And then we can get clearance to be able to recruit personnel to manage it. Then these persons are professionals. They are being paid well. They have a career growth plan. They know that, okay, I'm entering as an assistant librarian. In the next 3 to 4 years, I can move to the next grade level. I can move to the next grade level. I can move to the next grade level. And so they have certainty and hope. And so if you decide not to engage us, then you have problems. And so all over the country, there's no region in Ghana that you go that you will not witness an abandoned library. So as a chief executive, sometimes you'll be there and somebody will send you a picture. This library is closed. But I don't own all libraries. Every individual who has got a bit of money or every institution can just go ahead and build a library. There is no regulation. My law does not allow me to regulate the establishment of libraries. My mandate is clear. Establish, equip, maintain, and manage public libraries in Ghana. They did not ask me to regulate. And so you can go and build. But if you build it and you desire to give it as a gift to the government of Ghana so that we can be able to manage it, stock it, resource it, yes, we are happy to do that. And so this is an opportunity. This is a big platform that we want to communicate that if you're interested to build a library, engage us. There are some people also that just go to an architect, do some drawings, they go and build, they finish, they want to hand over to us. Really not fit for purpose. And so we really want you to engage us. We have people we've trained in library designs. People have taken a lot of series of courses. Government has invested in these people to equip their skills so that they can be able to design, proper functioning, libraries. And so we really are happy to engage with you to be able to do that, and so that's really some of the things that we've been up to.
All right. So if you just join us, you are welcome to Fact Sheet live on ETV, live on NISIM 95.9 and 100.5. We're taking a short breather. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation because there's a lot to talk about. Do you happen to know any library in your community if you're in Accra? I'll be glad to hear from you because he mentions lots of libraries in Accra. But where really are they? Do you know about them? Would like to hear your thoughts on these. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back to Fact Sheet Live on ETV. We're coming to you live from the premises of the National Library Authority or the Ghana Library Authority. And we're talking about books and the fact that Ghana now is the world's capital, Accra for that matter, when it comes to books. So earlier you're making mention of the projects you've embarked on. But the question is whether the people you are creating these facilities for know the whereabouts of these.
Yes, so the Ghana Library Authority, at least since 2018, we've set up a corporate affairs unit which used not to exist. So this is really an arm that is supposed to handle our communication and be able to make sure that the Ghanaian people know what we are doing. And so as part of that, we work with local churches to be able to make announcements about the presence of libraries in the community. Mosques are also engaged. We also work with a lot of community influencers, people within our communities that when they speak, people listen. We go to schools, to be able to make sure that teachers raise the awareness about the existence of libraries. Actually, there are some schools that the teachers make it a requirement that you have to read, one book. You have to go to the library and borrow a book and come and show me your library card and all of that. So we are able to leverage on that at a community level. Yes, we also work with the media partners so that we can be able to talk on radio and TV and be able to make, information available. Now, your question might be, what has been the result of that?
Okay.
The result is that our library patronage, which was just around 300,000, is now over 1.5 million, which means that as we have increased the network of public libraries, fill the shelves of public library with relevant materials, and giving the publicity and awareness about that, Ghanaians are appreciating it and are able to connect to the resources at our various locations. And so, yes, we've seen that, that impact that we've made out of that. But if you are also listening for the first time, or hearing or watching us for the first time, and you want to know, where is the nearest library around me? Go to library.gov.gh or download the Ghana Library app on Play Store, App Store.
Okay.
And you can do the location finder, and you're able to get a GPS location. Just click on it and the GPS will take you to
it shows you all that?
Yes, it shows you all that. You can
Wow.
even see images of the library before you even move there. And so we have, put all of this in place to be able to make sure that, finding our public library become as easily as possible. I mean, Google Library Ghana, and all locations are indexed on Google, and you can find the nearest location and go there.
What's the level of support you get from corporate Ghana?
Corporate Ghana has been quite helpful. If you look at the likes of Newmont Ghana, we established a 3-year partnership with them, supporting specific branches of our library, Sunyane, Akimoda. Specifically, we work with them through United Way on some, libraries in some schools also. So that has been really helpful. If you go to the Western region, we've got an Exo Mobile, doing some project with us, which has been quite impactful. We've got an MTN to build a library. Of course, MTN Ghana building about 2 or 3 libraries for us. Notable one is the one at Dansoma, which is on the Presby School compound. I mean, that's serving the whole communities. It was built by, MTN. Vodafone has been super, helpful to us. We have this connectivity project we have with them. They have this project they call it Instant School. They set up, they put computers at various library, they give them printer scanners, also connect them to internet, and pay for it for us. And so that is also a partnership that we have leveraged on. So we have one we do with Absa Bank on what we call the Ready to Work. They give us the resources. We're able to enroll Ghanaians on a MOOCs platform that they've curated for people to take part in some learning opportunities. And so we have been able to, for the first time in many years, partner with corporate Ghana, and we look forward to be able to do more. I mean, we've got some corporate partners also donating books to us. I mean, GCB has donated some books to us in the past. Social Security and National Insurance Trust, they built the airport library for us. I mean, such a remarkable way of impacting children, benefiting from the pensioners of Ghana. I mean, a remarkable investment for the future leaders of our country. So we have been able to leverage on some of these partnerships. But of course, we need to be able to do more as a country. You go to a library, for example, in Obuasi or Takwa, where gold is being mined, and I believe that Obuasi and Takwa and all the mining communities in Ghana should have the best of libraries, in our country. But unfortunately, that narrative is not, it's not right. And so we want to encourage these mining companies and oil producing companies. I mean, if you are based in the Western region, there is no reason why every district in Ghana should not have an ultra-modern public library services. There is no reason why these mining communities are being deprived. Because if you really love the people, if you really want to show appreciation to the people through your corporate social responsibility, the first thing you have to do is to invest in the brains of the people. And I believe that the avenue for you to be able to invest in the brains of the people is to make books available to them. Why should a child in this community not have access to a textbook? If you have a library and you put all the textbooks in there, children in these communities will always have access to learning resources. And even individuals, influentially, are building libraries to support their community. How come corporate institutions that claims to love our country, love the communities, and are benefiting so much from us, will not invest in the brains of the people. And the only way you can invest in the brain of the citizens is to build a library and make the books available, create the enabling environment, and make the place attractive for them to come and sit down and use. And so we want to commend corporate institutions who took the boardroom decision to invest in libraries. I'd also want to encourage you, if you are a board member of any corporate institution, I think, when a corporate budget or a corporate affairs team brings any proposal that does not include the purchase of books or establishment of a library, you should throw it away and let them invest in libraries. We want to make Ghana a learning nation, a reading nation, a nation where its citizens can always pride itself as being the intellectual hub of West Africa. And we can only be able to do that through the support of corporate Ghana. Government of Ghana is ready to give the opportunity for us to be able to employ people to manage some of these libraries, be able to support, in its maintenance and all of that. All we need is the support to achieve one single part of our mandate, which is the establishment of it. And that construction and building of it is where we struggle a little bit. And we want to be able to work with corporate institutions to be able to do that.
With Accra being the capital, you would be our chief librarian then. The viewers are watching you. You've already addressed corporate Ghana. The individuals, you've addressed them, but the government is watching you. And like you said, if we want the people to understand where we are going in terms of even government policy, it will be the development of the brain. Let me put it this way, your bosses are watching you. What would you say to them?
I think over the years, at least over the last 6 years, my bosses have done a tremendous work. They've given me the support that I need to be able to bring library service to this level. There is not been any period of 6 years in the history of Ghana Library Authority, which is an organization that was established in 1950, that we've seen such an investment in public libraries. So yes, Ghanaian children, Ghanaian adults are excited about what government and policymakers have been able to do for them in this area, what the private sector have collaborated with us and government to be able to do. But we still have a long way to go as a country. We still have more than half of the population not having access to static library services. We still have internet penetration challenges, so not everybody is able to benefit from our digital app. And so we should be able to commit that hopefully by 2030, our promise within the education strategic plan of establishing 540, at least we should be able to have a pass mark around that. That we should be able to have a pass mark. A pass mark is scoring over 50% of it. And so if we are able to score over 50% of it, we will be nearing a universal coverage of static library services across the length and breadth of this country. And for me, if we are able to achieve it as policy implementers, that will be quite remarkable for the people of Ghana. And I look forward to collaborating with each and everyone, whether in the private sector, whether in government, or wherever, so that we can be able to achieve this.
Well, on that note, we'll end our conversation here, and we've been coming to you live from the CEO for the Ghana Library Authority's office, talking about books and the fact that today, proudly, we can say we are the capital for books, the whole wide world. Mr. Siaw, I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
On that note, thank you. Please do make a date, God willing, next week, Tuesday, for another very, very interesting conversation. But don't forget, there'll be a replay of the show on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Do have a fruitful day.